Yeah, so you obviously have gone public with this video you alluded to earlier.
Yeah.
If you just pull up Paul's Instagram again, it's in the last 25, 30 posts or so. But this tribe this is the original one we talked about the first time we were together, the Mashkapiro tribe.
Yeah.
Just for people out there who are unfamiliar with the background, are we talking about a tribe here? When we say uncontacted tribe, obviously they're not a part of society, but how are these like pre-Stone Age kind of people?
Again, if you think about the fact that the Egyptian Empire was, 3,000 to 5,000 years ago, and the Stone Age was something like 3 million years ago. These people are pre-Stone Age. They're in the Bamboo Age. And there's certain anthropologists that get incredibly upset when you say that, because they go, no, they're modern people, they have their own technology. But there's also a lot of anthropologists that just acknowledge it. There's tribes all over the Amazon that have way more sophisticated societies where they have traditions and they have carved out boats, and they have more complex societies. These are still living a nomadic hunter-gatherer life, which is why they've been so hard to understand. And for the first 20 years that I worked in the Amazon, this was always a mythic thing. When I wrote Mother of God, where I'd been out on the solo and I caught a glimpse of them across the river, I ran for days, and I knew for a fact that nobody believed me. I just could see it on people's faces. I would tell that story and people would be like, yeah, okay, sure.
Where
Deep in the forest. I had gone 10 days deep into the most remote part of the forest because I was trying to have this incredibly wild experience with the deepest part of the Amazon. I wanted to commune with the deepest of the heart of the jungle. And then it turned out that I went so deep that I came out the other side into their territory, and they had happened to be moving through the same area. And I saw the smoke, and I ran for my life, and I left them alone. Now on this day,
you saw the smoke
from their fire. On this day, the thing that makes it historic is that they contacted us.
Wait, what? What's the context here? How did that go down?
We work with the indigenous communities now that are inside the Jungle Keepers Reserve. A lot of the people in the indigenous communities that are our friends, our boat drivers, our guides, our rangers, they live in the indigenous communities. They fish out of the rivers. They hunt monkeys.
They hunt monkeys?
Yeah, of course. That's what they eat.
Damn it.
And so... No, I mean, again, you know, you can't
I've seen the videos.
You can't get mad at us for eating deer. They like monkeys. There's lots of monkeys. We got word that the Mashkapiro were going to come out of the forest.
Are they like very close to the Brazilian border? Is that where we're talking? Or?
We're talking about the southeast of Peru, yeah.
Okay.
And so, but the indigenous community said to us, you as directors, they said, you as our neighbors who want to help us protect this watershed, you need to be here for this because we are sick of being attacked by these people.
Wait, the Mashkapiro were attacking?
The Mashkapiro come out and do raids. They want children, women, crops, whatever they can guess. They do raids.
When was the last raid?
I think in 2013, they came out and they sacked the village. The men were all fishing. It was like a holiday, and the men had all gone out of the village fishing, and the Mashko came in and they surrounded the village. They corralled all the women and children into one hut, and so everyone assumed they were going to burn it. And then they were all in there crying as these naked male warriors walked around the village, and they cut up the beds, stole the machetes, took a few pots, and murdered every animal that was in the village.
But not the people.
They actually left the people living. That day.
How many of them, how deep are they? Like how many people did the Mashkos have?
We don't know. Because from Manu National Park over to our river and down and then over to the Brazilian side, there's a few thousand clans of nomadic, uncontacted, you can say voluntarily isolated nomadic people.
So the Mashkos are just one.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I would say I think this is a very accurate word. Voluntarily isolated nomadic people, because they are shunning contact with the outside world. The term uncontacted right away leads people to be, well, how uncontacted are they? You know, are they contacted now that you've seen them? It's like, shut up. Who cares? They're very, very, very wild people. And so on this day, they came, and you can see them coming down the beach with the bows out, 7-foot arrows.
How did you said that they contacted the indigenous tribe,
the indigenous tribe started seeing footprints on the river. They knew they were coming. They got the sense. They know the jungle. They said, "There's people out there walking barefoot." They start to find an arrow on the side of the river. They go, "They're here. They're around
they
here."
Want you there.
And they said, if they show up, it could become violent. They might have the communication. We don't know. They said, but until you see it, you won't believe it. And they said, so you get here. And
when was this?
This was a little over a year ago.
Okay.
And so we ended up there, and you see in the video, they come with the bows out. You see them walking very cautiously, looking at us, pointing at us, scoping us out. And for everyone that you saw on the beach, there was 10 more in the forest, in the shadows, tracking us with arrows.
So when you say in the forest, I'm seeing, is
off
that river behind them?
That's a river behind them, but this is because it's at the bend of a river.
Right.
So off to the right is forest.
And so where are you guys?
We're on one side of the river, they're on the other side of the river. And so they came out, and the local indigenous anthropologists, again, we're just there as observers. We're there as directors because the indigenous people want help dealing with this problem that they have, that they share territory with this tribe that has no rules. This tribe will take your crops. This tribe will take you or kill you. It doesn't matter. They don't have the same rules that we have.
What language do they speak?
I mean, some derivation of Yine. And so it seems like they call themselves the Nomole. So Mashko Piros means the wild Piro. And so that's what the people in the countryside called them. But it seems like when they came to the edge of the river, after we convinced them to put down their bows, they held up their hands and they said Nomole, which is brothers. So they said Nomole and we said Nomole. And everybody kept saying Nomole back and forth across the river. And it was this acknowledgement of like, we are brothers, we are brothers. But they were scared to put down their bows and arrows, which means, many of the theories with the uncontacted tribes, some people say they've been out there for thousands of years. And other people will say they haven't always been this wild, that these are splinter factions of tribes that got scared during the rubber boom when people went down to get rubber and they just decimated the local populations. And so that's part of the reason they're living such basic lives with this minimalist technology where they just have bamboo and rope, because they used to be part of larger groups and clans and societies, and then they got split off. So whether they've been out there for hundreds or thousands of years, or whether they've just been out there for a century, it's not really relevant. The point is they're extremely wild people that speak a language that almost no one else speaks. And we know nothing about how they reproduce, where they reproduce, what they do with their old people, what their creation myths are. We know a little bit about what they eat because we find turtle shells and monkey skulls next to their fires on the beaches. We know that on trails, if they leave an X made out of sticks, you don't walk down that trail if you want to continue to breathe, because they will fire an arrow through you. And I say fire an arrow through you because a lot of their arrows are so long, 7-foot arrows, that when it goes through you, it will pass completely through you. Yeah. And so you'll just feel the impact. You'll have a machete-sized cut going straight through your body, and so you have a few seconds before you bleed to death.
So are they leaving the X to tell you not to be there, or is that their X because they're hunting back there, and if you go in there?
They're telling you this, don't go further, this is our territory. So people have disrespected that and wound up dead. The New York Post reported on it, I think in 2024, in August or September, that 2 loggers were killed. At least 2 loggers were killed by the Mashko Piro. It was like global news because their bodies were found. But for everything that makes the news, there's 20 other things, of course, or 50 other things, incidents that happen out past the scope of what anybody's ever going to see, and it just decomposes out there. One of the things on sort of the backwoods WhatsApp network was a few years ago, my friend turned to me and he goes, yo, the Mashko's got some loggers. And I went, where? He goes, up on the river. And he showed me his phone, and it was just pictures of the loggers that other fishermen had found, and the loggers just had arrows sticking out of them. And they were bloated from days of being on the edge of the river, and all the vultures had picked out their eyes, and you could see half of their skull, and it was just the most terrifying thing in the world. I mean, even though they were loggers, they shouldn't have been there. They were told not to go there, and the boogeyman got them.